Good day, beautiful souls. I hope everybody's doing fantastic. Welcome back to the Love Shack Studios. I'm a bit late with this week's tea time, as I was traveling and doing events on the East Coast, mainly Pennsylvania. But now I'm back in Arizona, and there's lots to discuss today, as usual. And many questions, or at least as many questions as I can get to from the comments below before I run out of time, because I am on a tight schedule today. I am recording this on Thursday, October 23rd, and we have just stepped in to the pre-shadow of the Mercury retrograde. Oh boy, friends, this is when it starts to get real. And the energies are about to heighten big time, especially when we step into November. Along with all this sun flare activity that we are now enduring, while we close in on that window of time, a date that I mentioned in my October forecast, October 29th. October 29th through the period of October 31st was what I said in my forecast for October. The 29th is now being discussed all over social media and all over the internet. People warning about that date and warning about things happening. So what exactly does that mean? What could possibly happen on that particular day, or at least in that window of time? Lots can happen, that's for sure. Some think it's related to the 3-1 Atlas. Some people it's related to conflict and many other speculations that are going on. Major cyber attacks and so forth. In the meantime, Alaska was nailed with a major typhoon last week. And no one in the media seemed to be talking very much about this major disaster and the major losses of property and houses floating down through the waters. Unbelievable scene of disaster. Looked like something out of the apocalypse. And we did warn of major flooding. New Jersey was another place over a week ago, before I actually got there, so maybe 2 weeks ago, that Jersey was inundated by major floods, and potential floods and tropical storms are about to hit Jamaica and parts of Haiti. What is it? Tropical storm Melissa. She's going to be fierce hurricane soon. Both places in which I warned in past weather predictions. So are we almost done with this weather craziness? The earthquake activity? Or is it about to really heighten big time? I'm going to go with the latter part. It's about to heighten. While all at the same time, the U.S. government is still shut down, and will they actually break a record this time? Right now, we're in number 2 position for the time of the shutdown. I think it's been, 23 days now. So no money to pay federal workers, but they sure summed up $250 million to build a new White House ballroom for the globalists, of course. The prices of gold and silver actually took a nice little dip downwards. Remember, we were watching for this dip. We were waiting for this dip. Will this dip continue? Is it a good time to buy silver and gold now? It's probably always a good time, but even more of a good time now that the prices just went down. I predicted a major heist, if you recall. Earlier this year, maybe in my 2025 predictions, I saw a major museum heist taking place, and I saw this happening during the day, and I felt like it was in Paris. Well, that just played out, friends. A major heist. Multi-million-dollar heist of the crown jewels. I also saw major roundups of people and arrests. So is this now happening across the United States? And is it going to spread over to Europe? Because they are definitely arresting and rounding up a lot of people. At least ICE is. Maybe some law enforcement as well. And we have the craziness that's happened in Portland that's about to break out in other cities. This is going to lead to more people being rounded up, more arrests. Now, I saw in the past, you recall, a leader being poisoned. Someone alerted me in the comments that actually did happen earlier this month, but the man survived. Do you know who it was? Well, for now, he survived for now, but another hit's definitely going to come eventually. While at the same time, China just wiped out many of their military leaders. Wiped them out across the board. Another fall of leaders in powerful positions, as predicted. And there's a lot more to come. Did you also know that South Carolina quarantined more than 150 kids? That's right. In South Carolina, they quarantined over 150 kids. Is your kid next? Maybe even you? Maybe even me? Is that their new plan? At the same time, we have Gates and friends now dropping rabies vax bait into our neighborhoods and wooded areas. Is this not something that sounds a bit dangerous to drop bait, edible food, for animals to eat that contains that vax? And why is it suddenly a major issue? I haven't heard of rabies in a long time. Have you heard of any rabies cases? I know it's out there, but it's not like all of a sudden we're seeing in the news all these rabies outbreaks and stuff happening. They did this years ago, and now they're doing it again, dropping it all over. What if your dog or your cat eats it? Mainly your dog, unless your cat's outdoors. Because any animal that struggles by it or strays by these are going to eat it. What if an animal eats too many of them? Lots of questions around that. And yes, another thing is another sleeping giant volcano is awakening, with warnings of an eruption after 700,000 years. Remember, Spirit talked about awakening giants, which we saw happen in Russia months ago, which is still active in that region, very active with earthquakes. So is this one in the Middle East about to blow? It's actually in Iran, to be exact. So let us get that tea kettle brewing, friends, for another episode of Tuesdays. Well, it's not Tuesday, Thursday, or hopefully you'll see this on Thursday. But another episode number 188 of Tittle Tea Time, baby. Welcome back once again to the Love Shack Studios. I am your host, Spiritman JT, spiritual medium for over 3 decades. I hope you all had a great week. I'm a little bit late this week, as you noticed, but as they say, better late than never. Better late than never, as I was traveling back east and knocking out several sold-out events, making dozens of connections with loved ones in spirit, which is always an exciting blessing for me and for those that receive those connections. We had lots of tears, lots of laughter, and thanks to all those folks who came out to those events. Now, if you can possibly hear it, I'm unfortunately battling a heck of a head cold for about, I think today's like day 9. It's been awful. I have not had a head cold. I was thinking about this bad since I lived back east. So that was like over 6 years ago. Now, Dr. B says it's COVID, regardless. I don't believe so, but it could be. Who knows? She wanted to test me, but I don't trust those tests and won't let that happen. And at least, I'm building up my immune system. That's the way I look for it, for a rough winter of flu season, as I said in predictions previously. Now, as you know, or maybe you don't know, I just won't take antibiotics if I don't have to. And, a lot of doctors, this is the first thing they push on you. Even with a cold, they'll give you a Z-Pack or whatever and push that right on you right away. Let your body fight the viral infections. That's what I'm doing. And that's what Dr. B suggested too. So let your body fight it, unless you end up with a sinus infection or something, which I have not, knock on wood. Our bodies are designed to do that. They're designed to work through this. So that's what I'm doing, working through it. Hopefully I'll be good by the weekend. I mean, I'm better now, but it was pretty bad last week. Now also, while I was on the East Coast, I, of course, could not miss our queen, the queen of rock, my absolute favorite, Miss Stevie Nicks. I wore her shirt just for you today. One of many shirts I purchased, of course, because I'm a Stevie addict. I could show you a few pictures, but I would love to show you some of the footage and the video clips, which you can find on my TikTok page. But I'm sure if I were to show them here, I'd end up with copyright strikes, so we're not going to do that. Amazing at the age of 77 years old, and I was lucky to sit up close and personal. This was about maybe my 20th Stevie Nicks concert, and maybe at least a half a dozen or more Fleetwood Mac concerts. Good times for sure, friends. Good times for sure. Now, a few days ago, on the 21st of October, we had the lovely new moon in Libra. I told you I got a cold, so bear with me today. And Libra that rung in. And that makes for a great week, actually, for all of us to set our intentions, plant some seeds for your future vision. This also welcomes in the energy of rebalancing because of the Libra, both for us personally and for us universally. On that same day, I'm sure you're feeling it. I'm sure you've been feeling it over the past few days. It's only been a few days, but still feeling it. Not only did we have major sun flare activity take place, major blast from the sun, I expect there to be some big geomagnetic storms hitting and some northern lights again being seen in places they've never been seen or aren't usually seen just as Spirit warns, that was going to happen. And next week, we're moving into the month of November, and that's where it's really going to get intense when we hit the month of November. Remember, Spirit told us that. Spirit told us in the month of November, fix my thing over here, that we would see a lot more of this sunflare activity, this sunflare maximum that's happening. Now, we also, again, this is what you're probably really feeling, we stepped into the final of 2025, the final pre-shadow of the wretched Mercury retrograde for 2025. Surely a sign, of course, of major events that are about to hit across the globe. And actually, I didn't look at the calendar. Let me pull up my calendar real quick for November, because November is when we welcome in the energy shift. I don't have my glasses. I forgot my glasses. So November 4th, full moon. November 4th until November 19th. Super duper energy shift. Big things happening in that window of time, so remember that. And I'll say that in my, of course, forecast for November that'll be out next week. Now, this pre-shadow retrograde is in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpios, breathe deep. Same with Virgos and Gemini. Remember, Mercury rules over Virgo and Gemini. So just breathe deep. Take deep breaths. Keep yourself cool, stay grounded. Keep your cool, not stay cool, but keep your cool. Same thing. Stay cool, keep your cool. Because this is when, we're going to really begin to, once again, as we did back in July and August, as I told you, we're going back into that same energy where the cray-cray is going to come out in people. Big time. People aren't going to be able to control their emotions, and that's always set up for disaster. People will simply react without thinking about things first or thinking things through first. So don't fall into that trap, friends. Think things out. Remember, it's retrograde. Don't react and don't overreact. Take time to think about it. The intensity of this coming retrograde, it's still movement. Shifting into the sign of Sagittarius is going to begin on the 9th of November. So that 9th to, what was that other date, the 4th to 19th or whatever date I just said, for the full moon energy shift is going to be super duper intense. So keep yourself, it's a good time to keep to yourself and keep to your loved ones. The month of November, that is. Now, yesterday, and again, I'm recording this on Thursday, the 23rd. Hopefully, you're going to see it tonight if I can get it done. But I have a full day of clients. I'm trying to get this done in time. I'm going to have to rush through it. But on the 22nd, yesterday, actually, marked Neptune's final return into Pisces before moving back into the sign of Aries for good. Friends, this marks off literally a pivotal period for the entire planet, a period of radical changes that we're already witnessing prior to this transit kicking into place yesterday. So radical change, friends, is upon us. Big time radical change. So remember what I tell you, never be scared, be prepared, and know that in the long run, these radical changes will lead to the best of all. It's going to be a while before we get there. Remember that window of time, 2025 to 2032. I just want to take a moment to welcome you to the channel, welcome you back to the channel. If you're new here, I am spiritual medium Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT. I welcome you with big open air hugs. I hope you're having a great day today. Down below in the comments, you'll find down below in the description, you'll find the links to all my social media platforms, including the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community of supporters who help make this free content possible for everybody else. You can also, on YouTube platform, down below, you can see the join to be a monthly supporter there as well. Then, other than that, these folks help make this free content possible for everybody else, along with all the contributions that come in that are amazing, and I thank you all with infinite love and gratitude. Now, there's something I was going to tell you, now I forget. Geez, what was it? Well, as they say, it must not have been that important. But I do want to tell you to be aware of fake accounts and fake reviews. That's a new thing now. Somebody went on a little hatred thing towards me. They always run the Yelp, which is funny to me because Yelp means nothing. It has no reflection on my business at all. Fake No, fake, totally fake. And I know the same person went into the comments of YouTube and left a bunch of fake stuff too. I'm pretty sure it's probably the Karen that lives across the street. But who knows? Who cares? But just be aware of that. But even more so on Facebook now, somebody has once again duplicated my profile, stole my pictures, and is messaging people with this information on readings and all kinds of other stuff. Do not fall for that on any platform. The only way to get a reading with me or to have contact with me is directly on my website, Joseph Tittel, Tittel.com, or SpiritmanJT.com. You don't need to email the office or anything. You can schedule your appointments directly on the website. The easiest way to go about it. And again, if you get messages on any social media platform that appear to be from me, direct messages, they are not me. Please report those profiles immediately. Let us move on to episode 188 of Teatime, baby. In my October forecast, and excuse my voice, I can hear it clicking from this cold. In my October forecast, I put out a series of dates and a window of time. Now, I always put out a series of dates as being significant in every forecast. I try to remember to do so. And there were some dates. October 3rd, I think, was one. October 11th, I didn't get to look to see what happened on those days specifically. But I specifically brought up the date. The date that felt strongest to me was October 29th. I also brought up the window of time, October 29th through the 31st. That felt really like a very important window of time for all of us. So I would expect there to be multiple major global events that may actually determine the new direction that we're heading into in the month of November especially. We have to keep an eye on that window of time next week. And of course, All Hallows Eve, my favorite time of the year. Now, interesting enough, that people now all over the internet are speaking about this date. They're speaking about October 29th. And some are relating it to, 3-1 Atlas, the comet that really they're telling us it is. That's really a controlled spacecraft, as I told you before. A controlled spacecraft that's there to assist us in our ascension process. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. Some are trying to scare you with the fact that it's going to crash into the Earth. It's nowhere near the Earth. It's near the sun right now, heading towards the sun. It's nowhere near. Not going to come. People speculate that. Not going to happen. Although I did make some predictions earlier this year that we would see some heightened events around meteor activity, including meteors crashing into the Earth. Now, I do recall, I believe I said that many of them would end up in the ocean. Not big enough to cause a tsunami or anything. No worry about that. Maybe some waves, but nothing like that. So as I told you weeks ago, I feel that our skies are about to be filled with a whole bunch of activity. Not just drone activity either. As the media would, of course, like to have us believe, oh, it's just drones. It's not alien spacecraft. But it will truly be alien spacecraft, UFOs, and UAP activity that we're about to. I expect that we could witness something really huge in our skies on that date, or in that window, definitely in that window of time, October 29th through the 31st. But a date, of course, to keep an eye on, of course, is the 29th. And that's going to move us into this month of November, which is going to be filled with literally extreme activity. Things are about to get real, friends. Now, with this whole Neptune transit that's taking place, that took place starting yesterday, and being I did not have much time to prepare this week's podcast and Teatime podcast, I ran over to ChatGPT. Normally, I would do the research myself, but I thought about why should I do all the research? Let ChatGPT tell me. And I went to ask ChatGPT how this transit last affected the planet Earth 165 years ago, and how it could ripple across the planet this time, in this round. So bear with me, I'm going to have to blow it up because I forgot my glasses. I'm telling you, my last birthday, I woke up the next day and I needed glasses. No exaggeration. So what I asked, let me blow this up a little bit. There we go, now I can see that nice and good. I said, yesterday marked Neptune's final journey into Pisces before moving into Aries for good, the 165-year cycle. What happened the last time we moved through this cycle 165 years ago. Can you list the biggest events, conflicts, changes, and Earth weather events that took place during this last cycle? Please include with this how this is going to affect us in the current times. And here's what it said. You are absolutely right that Neptune moved into one zodiac sign, blah, blah, blah. We know that. 165 years. Let's jump down. The last time Neptune moved through Pisces into Aries, timelines. Neptune entered Pisces after the previous sign in the mid-19th century. Some cite 1847 to 1848 in the previous cycle. Neptune entered Aries around 1861. One timeline lists, sinuses are driving me crazy. And I am using the oregano oil. It's nasty. Man, that stuff works really good. Steam some water, put a drop of that in there and breathe it in. It burns. I felt like The Exorcist. It burns. But yeah, that oregano oil, man, good stuff. So Neptune entered Aries around 1861. For example, one timeline lists Neptune's ingress into Aries on the 13th of April, 1861. The period of 1861 to 1875 is often cited as the last Neptune in Aries era. Major themes and events. Well, we talked about this before. Well, we'll continue to talk about it, especially in the chart for United States of America. That time period, from 1861 to 1865, we had the American Civil War in the United States. A massive conflict, as we know, over slavery, national identity, industrialization versus agrarian society. The revolutions of 1848 across Europe, just before but linked to the timeline of Neptune's recent travel from 1848 to 1849, broad liberal nationalist uprisings. National unifications, for example, in Italy and Germany, and the rise of modern nation states are tied to the end of the mid-19th century. In the United States, the abolition of slavery via the 13th Amendment in 1865 and the beginning of the Reconstruction. Massive shifts in social structure from feudal, monarchical, I can't talk today, monarch systems toward modern industrial democracy and citizens' rights. Now, that was as far as conflicts and political change. Now, as far as cultural and philosophical, physiological change, there was a rise in spiritualism, which we see happening now. A rise in spiritualism, mysticism, and alternative religions. And the Neptune in Aries era, just before the Aries ingress. So that's now. We see that happening now. There was a surge in the interest of spiritualism, seances, photographic experiments with the other world or photographing ghosts and spirits. How interesting is that? Photography, telegraphy, railways, industrialization to the technological backdrop to the era was rapid change. The Neptune in Aries era, themes of individual will, bold pioneering, revolution, and direct action become stronger. Astrologers note that the combination of Neptune, which is dreams, ideals, and vision, in Aries, which is assertion, initiation, conflict, tends to produce both heroism and fanatical violence. Interesting. Earth-related events. I found this to be very interesting, friends, because it says the Great Flood of 1862 in California, while Neptune was in Pisces transition, which is where we're at right now. And I've been warning about major floods and flooding season. We have all these transits and water signs. Could California get hit again? What was it? 1862 would have been a 9, 10, an 8-year in numerology. I'm just thinking out loud. Not that that matters. Sometimes it does. Also reference to big fires and explosions. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't I say we would see lots of big fires and explosions? We saw that big explosion. Where was that? In Tennessee, like a week or so ago? Big fires, big explosions during the 1860s in the United States. Incidents such as explosions or fires connected to industrialization and munitions are cited as the astrological commentary from the Neptune Aries era. Interesting. What changed? Major wars and ideological struggles over the shape of society. Slavery, national identity, democracy. The rise of large-scale technologies, industrialization, railroads, telegraph. The world becoming more connected and faster. Now, we see that same exact thing happening right now with artificial intelligence, with, cars and everything else. So it's interesting how we're seeing it in a different way, but we're seeing it. Cultural ruptures, old religions, feudal systems being questioned, more individualism, the rise of nationalist movements. Now, here we go, because we're seeing this, and we're going to see this big time over the next few years. Natural disasters or climate extreme weather events tied to rapid change, floods, fires, explosions. Possibly symbolically relevant in astrology. A shift in the collective idealism, Neptune and Pisces, towards individual assertion and bold new beginnings. Radical change, friends, radical change. So what it might mean for our current time? Let's see, possible themes, individualism, initiation, new leaderships. We've been talking about new leaderships, even in my interview with Freddie Puma, the shaman in Peru. With Neptune and Aries, the emphasis may shift from collective dreams to spiritual connections. Pisces towards assertive new starts, bold leaderships, pioneers of change, maybe new ideologies and movements born out of individual conviction. Conflict over ideals, just like we saw in the mid-19th century, saw major conflicts about the society, about what society should be. Yeah, all right? Isn't that what they do? They want us to push us into that mark of the beast, into their beast system. The coming of Neptune and Aries era may bring renewed struggles over identity. People are having a lot of identity issues, are they not? Autonomy. What the new world should look like. Yeah, they want it to look like complete control over us, interesting enough. Technological and revolutionary change, natural upheaval. Astrologers emphasize that Neptune-Aries transition may bring fire themes, Aries rules Neptune amplifying, and more visible risks, accidents, disasters, as well as initiating climate change consequences. We might expect more dramatic environmental events or tipping points as the old systems break. Now, this goes back to predictions going back years ago and even prophecy. The shifting of the plates, the shifting of the earth. I told you by 2032, the earth is going to look completely different. There's going to be things that are above water that will go underwater and other way around. New things will rise out of the waters. There'll be a shift in the Arctic, in the ice melt, where part of it melts, but the other part freezes. So we're going to see a lot of that. Spiritual, idealistic terrain changes. In Pisces and Neptune, we had a lot of spiritual opening, mysticism, collective consciousness, illusions, escapism. See, this is where it gets excited, because this is where people awaken to new levels of ascension through consciousness and through spirituality, not through controlled religious practices to tell you what you can and can't do. That's what people are tired of. People are tired of being told what they can or can't do. You do this, you burn in hell, you do that, and you don't go to heaven. Like, come on, let's be realistic. Rebirth of movement-style politics, just like in the mid-19th century, had mass movements, uprisings, new nation states. We will see forms of the collective identity being built on more individual assertive foundations. This also goes to me telling you that I saw a vision of states breaking apart, stars falling off the American flag, a breakup in China, China separating into separate states, we can say, or unions. That'll be more United States breaking up into different unions, and a breakup of the current political systems. What to watch for? When we see charismatic leaders claiming radical new visions or movements that emphasize me first or my rights, vision, identity, that may be a Neptune and Aries pattern. Environmental or fire heat disasters or first-time industrial accidents might be more frequent or symbolically amplified. I mean, and this is pretty thorough and long. I can't go all the way into it. I mean, there's still a lot left. But you get the gist of it. I just thought it was interesting to bring that up, to look that up on ChatGPT. Sorry, my brain's not working completely today. I only have 30 minutes to get this done before I have to run the clients and upload this. Hopefully I'll have time to do so. Did you see that Alaska was nailed with a massive typhoon, which is basically a hurricane? And no one seemed to be talking about it when it comes to the media. You know, people online were talking about it, but people in the comments, that's how I found out about it, but it was not being talked about in any media, maybe some independent media. And the disaster, the losses of property, the flooding was just unbelievable. Now, Trump did just send, I think, $25 million to help the people there. I believe I just read this morning somewhere. But this is what's happening. Again, it's all these water transits and the energies that we're in. Major flooding. New Jersey, what was it? Avalon, New Jersey was seeing major flooding about a week and a half ago or right before I went out there. Where else? Oh, we have this tropical storm Melissa. Tropical storm Melissa that they say is going to turn into a Category 3 hurricane. And that's about to sweep over Jamaica and even parts of Haiti. Both of those places I warned, friends, as you know, in past predictions. Especially Jamaica. I saw something really bad hitting Jamaica. I think it's going to be Melissa. It just makes sense to the energies that we're in right now. And the transits that just kicked into place, which is only going to intensify, again, when we get into the month of November. And we get to that full moon. When did we say that date was? I told you my brain's not working today. What was the date? The 5th. Yeah, the 5th. The 5th of November. Boy, oh boy. So I would look for things around that date too, big events and things to happen around the 5th of November. But I warned those areas, especially, I don't know what I said about Haiti. I thought that was more earthquake related, but I could be wrong. But I did warn Jamaica and then also Cuba, so could this possibly blow over into Cuba? Other than that, I don't feel concerns other than that with the activity. As a matter of fact, this goes to one of the questions in the comments. Let me pull up my comments real quick. Might as well knock one out while we're on the subject of hurricanes. Somebody's asking about Florida. Where are you? Where are you? Who was that? That was Mrs. Smith. Is Florida getting a major hurricane this year in and around Orland? I got a big no with that. But then you're asking, what about the next 10 years around that same area? Oh, no doubt. All Florida is going to be hit in the next 10 years. That's a long window of time, and we're in a major time of shift and changes with the environment, with the geography of the planet. Thank you for your question. What else? So, yeah, there's craziness. Now, I didn't really, again, being as I was away, I didn't really get time to look at the earthquakes or what's going on with earthquake activity. I know that there's some major sun flare activity that just hit. Oh, somebody at my door. There is motion in front of your home. It's just my big old clown dancing around. My Halloween clown. Yeah, then Karen called my house the clown house because she didn't like the color of it. The teal clown house with the yellow door. Except the house is in teal. She's colorblind. It's turquoise. Or sea mist is the actual color name. So I decided to go out and decorate the whole house with clowns for Halloween. Make it a real clown house. Anyway, got to have a sense of humor in life. Earthquake activity is definitely going to pick up big time in November. November would be a month where I could see, and even before the end of this month, where we would see major tsunamis take place and, of course, major earthquake activity. I'm going to go deeper into that, especially this weekend. I'm going to do some scrying, some Black Mirror prophecy that I started doing a while back. I see other people are now doing that. Interesting enough. I'm glad I can inspire others to use the Black Mirror because it is pretty darn awesome. But we'll do that. Other than that, moving on, the U.S. government's still shut down, and I will admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong. I thought it'd be short. I was the opposite of the wrong. It's now long. It's going to break the record. Right now, it's number 2 for the longest shutdown of government. It will break number 1. Of course it will. They wanted to do that. No money to pay federal workers, but they have $250 million in so-called donations to build a new White House ballroom, which now is going against the historic society of the house and God only knows what. We're in bizarre times, friends, bizarre times. And the government shutdown is now threatening, or I don't know if it's the government shutdown that's threatening it. Maybe it's Trump threatening, I'm not sure, but they want to do something different with the EBT, which is the food stamp program. I'll talk about that in a minute. What I wanted to mention, too, is the prices of gold and silver. Excuse me, I told you, sinuses. Cold. I had a sore throat for like over a week. It's actually gone now, finally. It was one side, postnasal drip. Awful. You know what I believe got rid of it was that oregano oil. This stuff is great. I mean, it's awful, but it's great. Like, it's so awful. At least the house smells good, like you're cooking some good Italian food or something. So the prices of gold and silver just dropped quite significantly. I think gold went down like $140. That's a big drop. Silver is now below $50 an ounce, which is a big drop. A nice little dip. Remember, we were looking for that dip. Spirit said there'd be a dip before it would go back up again. I do believe it's going to dip a little bit more. I'm not sure about the gold price. I'm not looking at I don't recall what that is in my brain. But I know that silver was at $52 or something. It's now at $49. I would expect silver to go around $47, $48 before rising again. It might even jump down to $46. I'm waiting for it to go down a little bit more, and I'm going to buy some more myself. It's still, to me, in my opinion, time to buy. Remember, I'm not a financial expert. I'm a spiritual medium, entertainment purposes only. But I was the one to tell you years ago to start buying silver, and if you would have tripled your money. What did I see? I got to bring that, see if I can find that. Silver, this year alone, was it 63%? Because someone in the comments is like, you're wrong, gold, I made more money off of gold. No, you're wrong. I love when people tell me I'm wrong, and they're actually the ones that are wrong. This is straight from the SD Bullion Company, where I know I have it here somewhere. I think if I remember correctly, and it'll give or take a few points, that silver, as of the beginning of this year up to now, has increased 63%. And gold, I think, was 49 or 50%. So that's a 13% difference. Definitely more money on silver. Definitely more money. I could have sworn I had that here. Would help if I had my glasses on. There we go. Actually, gold up 55%. Silver up 63%. Still, silver is the long-term best investment. That's what Spirit told us. Silver is the better long-term investment. Remember, there's going to be a shortage in silver in the future. Not sure when. People are buying it up like crazy, and, the elite are some of them people that are buying it up. So we're going to have to sit back and watch. But I see some big downs in the markets when it comes to the month of November, especially the stock markets. I would not invest in the stock markets. That would be a place I would not go. Stock market is due for a big, big plunge, like a big, gigantic plunge. And with the transits and the energies coming in November, November could be a very plausible time period for that plunge to take place. So I wouldn't risk it at all. Whereas when it comes to cryptocurrencies, I see something happening with cryptocurrencies in November. Maybe between the 4th and the 11th of November. That's what's coming to me, the 4th to the 11th. And this is something like that can move things up large, like XRP. Ripple, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's come down quite a bit too. But I feel like that's all going to change. And that's all going to go back up again in the near future. Another interesting thing happened was this major heist. I think I have an article on it. This major heist at a museum. Remember, I saw this in visions. I saw a major heist taking place that was like either a museum, art museum, something like that. I felt that it was likely in Paris because that's where the most valuable museum artifacts usually are. And I saw this playing out during daytime, which sounded crazy because you don't see big heists taking place in the middle of the day. Well, there's a crown jewel heist worth millions and millions of dollars. All took place right there in the daylight hours, as you see in the article here. That's definitely the heist that I was seeing in my visions. Crazy, right? And look at the crown. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. My feeling on this was one of the rich globalists paid for this, for their own personal private collection. So they paid these people to go in, lots and lots of money, millions, to do this heist so that they can keep this collection for their own personal private collection. I believe some of this will be found. Some. I'm not sure why some and not the other. And I believe some of the people will be found. I don't know if they were on motorcycles or not, but I keep seeing motorcycles. So if they were not on motorcycles, then there's another heist coming. If they were on motorcycles, then that's probably why I'm getting that vision. Another thing to bring up today, while I sniff these bad cold, major roundups of people. Major roundups and major arrests. I think I have an article on that somewhere here too. Again, I didn't have much time to prepare for this, so I do apologize. Well, let's bring up the jewel heist real quick. There's the link. I just found the link for that. What was it called? You're going to make me try to subscribe? No, I'm not subscribing to get into your friggin' article. Your experiences. They want me to disable ad blocker. No. Forget that article. Not important. Not important. Let's go to the next article. Oh, did you see this? I forgot to even put this in my notes. The hunting stand that was found near Trump's AF-1, Air Force One, where there was a hunting stand. I think this was in Florida. Found facing towards Trump's Air Force One. I told you they're going to continue to try to take him out. Continue. It's not going to stop. I keep seeing Iran being behind some of this. Iran's behind some of it. But so are some of the globalists in Europe, interesting enough, that are against some of Trump's decisions. Trump needs to be very, very safe. Because November could be a month where we could see something happening around Trump and an attempt on Trump. Thought that was interesting, though. Hunting stand. I thought I had an article here on that. But I guess I don't. On the roundups of people, the people being arrested, which is happening all over the United States with ICE and law enforcement. They're rounding up a lot of criminals, probably some innocent people too, but what's happening is happening. Remember, I had visions of people being rounded up and even put on buses. We haven't quite seen it on the bus level yet. At least I haven't. Maybe some of you have. If you did, let us know in the comments down below. There's big roundups coming. I remember what I said about the homeless. That comes up to me too. What's happening to the homeless people? I feel like they're being taken away. Maybe ground up into your Mickey D's burgers. They did find human DNA in burgers and 12 brands of hot dogs and rat DNA too. That's a fact. Again, look those stories up for yourself. Pretty crazy. But yeah, we're going to see these roundups and more roundups happening, not just in the United States, but in Europe too. I expect to see some big arrests taking place in Europe, especially in the United Kingdom. Some of this feels to me like it's going to really anger a lot of people. So I don't know who they're going to arrest. Maybe Tommy Robinson again. Wouldn't surprise me. But I see people being angered. We're going to see major uprisings in November and in the coming weeks. We saw the King's protest, no King's protest, which is funny to me because if there was a king would never let that protest happen. Just saying. Not defending anybody here or supporting anybody. Just saying. I mean, let's be realistic here. Remember when they, when Kamala was running, they were calling her Queen Kamala? Isn't that interesting? Do you remember that? I mean, I'm sure some of you do remember that. Speaking of leaders, remember I saw a leader being poisoned? And I thought it would be in Russia. I thought it would be Putin, actually. And it actually did happen in Russia. It just wasn't Putin. And the man survived for now, but another hit's going to be coming on him very, 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 very soon. And that was Assad from Syria, who fled to Russia. I thought I had an article there on him. Maybe not. Oh, I do. It's opened over here. Jeez. Get it together, Spiritman. Get it together. Alaska. Major flooding. Tropical storm Melissa. There we are. Bashar al-Assad. I thought it was interesting. He's a master number, too, on an 11th birthday. He was born September 11th, 1965, which puts him in his 2-year in numerology, which has nothing to do with really anything. But they did poison him over there in Russia. So I was right about Russia. I was just didn't think, and about it being a leader, I just figured it'd be Putin. It's just a common thought sense, easy to mess that one up. It was Bashar al-Assad who was rushed to the hospital. And he actually made it and survived. He's an 11 master number. Interesting. Of course he was a leader. 11s and 22s. Leadership. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But yeah, we saw that happen. When did that happen? That happened a couple weeks ago. So that was in early October. So that happened this month. Which happens to be, again, remember I tell you, October is a reflection of next year. So an attempt on him or poisoning on him this month. He needs to be extremely cautious as we step into the new year because likely he's not going to make it through 2026. A lot of leaders are not going to make it, or previous leader, he's not a leader now, but previous leader. He fled and ran to another place to get away. Interesting times. And did you also see that China wiped out many of their military forces? I know I got that article. I just saw it here. CCP, cleaning military house. Cleaning military house. The Purge, they call it. Like the movie The Purge. Creepy. Purge of Xi's closet generals raises questions over his grip on the CCP's military. Well, first of all, Xi Jinping is in bad health. I told you that. He's not going to last through 2026 either. His reign's about up. A lot of their reigns are up. Remember, I saw a vision of him being stabbed, and I take it as metaphoric, not literal. I mean, it could be literal, but I think it's metaphoric, of him being stabbed in the back by one of his own commanders or one of his own people, taking him out of power. But in the latest shakeup of China's military, 9 senior officers of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, have been expelled from the Chinese Communist Party. And you know if they were expelled, you know what happens to them. You know it. It's what happens to all of them over there. Now, in South Carolina, they quarantined more than 150 kids, friends. More than 150 kids. Is your kid next? Perhaps even yourself? And I get quarantined, people quarantining themselves to keep it away or keeping people out of school because of the measles, and I think this was related to the measles. But 150 kids totally quarantined in the state of South Carolina. I thought I had that article here. Jeez. Talk about not being completely prepared. But you get the point. You can look that up for yourselves. I'm pretty sure it was because of the measles. 150. More than 150. Did you also know that Gates, that guy and friends are once again dropping rabies bait into the neighborhoods and wooded areas coming to a town near you? Basically, it's bait food that has a vax in it for rabies, so we are told. which means that these animals can come and eat several of them. Wouldn't that hurt them? I would think that would harm them. What if your dog eats it and your dog already had a rabies shot? I mean, that's a given. Your dog has to have rabies shots, right? In order to have the papers, at least in Pennsylvania it was that way. In Arizona, I believe it's the same way. So isn't this dangerous? Since when has rabies become a major issue? I mean, I haven't heard of rabies or anything in a long time. I mean, it's out there and we know it. But I remember even as a kid, I'd be aware there's a raccoon in the neighborhood with rabies that animal control is trying to get. I haven't seen anything like that. Have you? Let me know in the comments down below on what you think about this whole thing with them dropping this stuff out of the sky into your neighborhoods and into the woods for these animals to eat. Everything from the deer to the raccoons to everything. Even the rodents. Everything out there is going to be eating this. I told you I got to try to keep this short. I'm almost out of time. But another thing I wanted to bring up to you is another sleeping giant volcano is erupting. Or it's not erupting yet. It will erupt, but it's awakening. There's warnings of an eruption after 700,000 years, friends. That's a long time. Remember, Spirit warned us of awakening giants. Warned us earlier this year. Soon after that, we saw the awakening giant in Russia that's been unleashing consistent earthquakes like crazy since it's erupted. This particular one's in Iran. In Iran, I probably don't have that, but I'll find the article and I'll pop it up there on the screen for you so you can read it for yourself. Because I'm discombobulated. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. This cold. They call it the zombie volcano. Thought to be extinct for over 700,000 years, shows signs of an eruption. This volcano has been long believed to be extinct for over 700,000 years. How would they even know that? Go on, how would they know that? Do we have records going back 700,000 years? Maybe the reptilians do, but we don't. Scientists studying the Taftan in southeastern Iran detected a summit uplift of 3.5 inches over 10 months from 2023 to 2024, and it has yet to subside. The team said that the swelling could be caused by hot fluids and gases accumulating beneath the summit. Yeah, that's going to cause, I see major earthquakes. Not so much the volcano, but I do see major earthquakes hitting Iran and the surrounding area. I even see cracks in the wall in Israel from an earthquake. And then I also see, remember I saw visions of lava coming out from the ground. I believe this is related to this over in Iran. And we're going to see video of that in the near future. Awakening giants. This is Mother Earth, friends. She's wakening up. Big time. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up is the EBT food stamp program. That's about to change big time, apparently, from what I'm hearing. I haven't really delved deep into it. But, it needs to change. It very well needs to be changed. It's supposed to be this temporary assistance to supplement low incomes, to help people out, to help people get through. But for some reason, it's become a way of life for many folks who know how to bleed the systems dry. And you all know about that. They're out there. They're even creating videos about how they're going to destroy things if they don't get their food money. When they're all pretty much, not all of them, but most of them are very capable of going out and working. People are already threatening to loot grocery stores. They're even threatening to mug people in grocery parking lots for their food. You can find these videos on TikTok and all. They don't ban them or strike their channels, even though they're threatening people and threatening harm and bad things. This is about to get really, really dirty, friends. Really, really dirty. And I warned about November way back in December of 2024 when I was preparing the 2025 forecast and predictions. And now November is approaching really, really quickly. And I can see civil unrest in major cities in the United States and abroad. I can see some grocery stores being forced to shut down completely due to the looting and the theft, causing local residents to actually have to travel even further to get their groceries, which in turn is going to cause them to spend more money on gas and limit their ability to buy more groceries. I see civil unrest spreading across the globe in the month of November. And I'll go deeply into this in next week's premiere of November's forecast and predictions. Another thing, and I think this is lastly for today, two other things I want to bring up today, and I'll do a few questions because I have maybe 5 minutes left. I would expect a flag to fly ever so falsely in the Middle East sometime soon in order to continue the globalist mission of endless conflicts. And I feel that this could and likely will occur maybe around one of the sacred religious holidays, whether it's a Muslim holiday, Jewish holiday, not sure. But it felt like it could resolve around the holiday. Now, I think, again, I don't know holidays very well. I think the next holiday, we passed all the Jewish holidays for October. I don't know the Muslim holidays, and I think the next one would be Hanukkah in December. But I feel like something is coming in November, along with massive outages, friends. Massive outages. Remember, radical change is upon us. Did you see the Amazon web outage that screwed up doctors' offices, banks, and all kinds of people? And you don't realize how much Amazon has control over, how many servers they actually control. One server takes out the other server that takes out the other server. This was a practice run, friends. That's what the spirits tell me. A practice run cyber attack on the system. Now, this reminds me of a vision I had where I saw an on and off switch and somebody walked up and just turned the switch off, just turned off the power. So if I'm getting a reminder of that vision, I'm going to say maybe they did it themselves, went and turned the switch off. Maybe to prevent the cyber attack. Who knows? They wouldn't tell us the truth regardless. But I feel like this is a test run. There's a lot more to come. And remember, Mercury retrograde affects communications, affects anything to do with the internet, your cell phone, anything communications related. People miscommunicate, so people argue more. People take things, totally twist your words completely out of context, so be aware of that for the month of November. We're only in the pre-shadow right now. We're only just stepping in the pre-shadow. So, the pre-shadow is not as bad as we go into the direct on November 9th. November 9th to the 29th or the 28th. So pretty much the whole month of November, we're directly in it. We're in the doo-doo of the Mercury retrograde. Major outages. So if you don't have a backup for cooking, backup for heat, because it's getting cold in some places. I know this morning I had to just put my heat on and turn the chill off because it was a little chilly in the house this morning. It's a beautiful day out today, though. I think it's like 65. So big outages, friends, big outages. And a couple questions I'm going to answer in the questions down below. There's a lot, but I only can get to a few because I have to hurry up and put this on my computer inside. Excuse my constant sniffing. It's annoying, believe me. If it annoys me, I'm sure it annoys you. Colds. Hey, but at least I'm going to get it in and out. I haven't had a cold in over 6 years, so I can handle it this time. This is a long one, though. Given the rise in solar activity alongside with the growing number of satellites, do you and your team of spirit guides see any negative impacts on satellite operations? Thank you, Joseph. This is from Stitches the cat. Meow. Yes, not just from solar activity, but I see a satellite being taken out perhaps by China. And this could be in an attempt to go after Taiwan. And I don't believe this is in the near future. I believe that China is going to make its move on Taiwan in the year 2027. Maybe late 2026. I mean, I don't feel like it's that soon. I think they're sitting back and waiting. And I believe it's going to be when there's new leadership that's in China that this all takes place. Maybe that's why they're going to get rid of Xi Jinping, because he's not pushing on it hard enough as the rest of the communists in China want to happen. I do see it, but it's also going to depend on what side of the planet we're facing when these solar things come in. I had predictions revolved around seeing a major television network go down due to satellites. So yes, we're going to see a lot of stuff. And then I also see a vision right now of two satellites colliding together. I don't know how the hell they're colliding together. I know nothing about this. Maybe it's a Gates and Musk one colliding with each other. I don't know how that would happen, but I just see a vision of that. Interesting vision. When Prince William becomes king, Will he break away from the WEF, NATO, and the WHO? Or is nothing going to change in that regard? That's from Amanda. Amanda, unfortunately, nothing's going to change in that regard. And I see William taking the crown next year in 2026. I also looked up William's numbers, and he actually happens to be a solstice baby, born June 21st, which makes him the Cancer. And it puts him in his 1 year next year. He's in his 9 year of ending. So it could be possible that the king could pass away before the end of this year, making William have a big loss in his life, the 9 vibration. Sometimes we lose people. Sometimes people lose themselves. But next year he's in that 1 vibration. It would make total sense that he would take over the crown next year. And he's still a part of the whole thing. So, yeah, that ain't going to change. They've been in charge of everything for so long, deep underground. Will all the increasing violence ever quit? Will we ever be able to eat a dinner and walk down Central Park at 10 p.m. and not worry about lurking around corners, etc.? I didn't know. I have friends in New York, and they go out to dinner, and they walk into Central Park at 10 o'clock at night. Got to watch your fear. Remember, what you worry about is what you're going to manifest for yourself. So will this increasing violence ever quit? Eventually, yes, as we step into the new earth and the new earth energies by 2032. But we're going to see a lot of changes around that in the near future, depending on where you're at, of course, exactly. But this is part of this radical change that we're experiencing. Radical change and radical changes in people. So hold that in the light, again, that you see yourself. The vax mandates and laws for animals in some states are draconian and not even really backed by any science or common sense. What do you see will change in the current vax mandates and laws for animals? They're going to push more on animals. I just told you they're dropping rabies vax out of the sky into the neighborhoods for animals to eat. So that's not going to change until we shift into the new earth. It's going to be a little while. And unfortunately, things often get worse before they get better. Who do you envision becoming the president of the United States in 2028? I don't have a person in mind, but I know it's going to be a female. A female will take the reign. But first, of course, Vance is going to go in there temporarily, but that's going to be during this term. And you know, Vance, J.D. Vance, that's not even the dude's real name. He changed his name. There's so much shadiness, and to me, I feel like he's a plant by the globalist elite in the Illuminati, and he's also a member of the Skull and Crossbones. Go figure. And I'm going to have to leave you with that because it's 12:30 and I got to get ready for my clients for today. Hopefully I'll get this uploaded into you by tonight, Thursday. If not, then you'll be seeing it sometime on Friday. At least have this ready for my people on Subscribestar tonight. It's always lovely to connect with you, friends. Remember to keep an eye out either Sunday night or Monday for probably Sunday is going to be the goal, actually, for the Black Mirror prophecy and predictions. We're going to look deep into the 3-1 Atlas and what's going on with that. We're going to look very deep into the month of November and what's coming up for that. Lots and lots of predictions to provide you with. I'll be working on that this weekend, so stay tuned. If you're new here, and again, you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, you want to vibe with this awesome tribe, smash the subscribe, the bell, and all so that you get notifications. And please do click that thumbs up love button. Helps the channel grow. Helps get the similar content onto your feed. If you like predictions and predictions from other people and other channels, then you definitely want to hit the thumbs up button. And thank you for all the love and support that comes in from all the contributors to the channel and members. I thank you with infinite love and gratitude. Until the next time, friends, remember, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love, friends. Much love.